Like, I remember sitting in class the first time when someone said all guns are always loaded, and it just like made my skin crawl, because I was like, what do you mean I can unload my gun? Like, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. And I like it now because it makes my skin crawl and it's wrong. And really, it's a statement of belief and not a statement of fact. So you have to believe all guns are always loaded. And if you believe all guns are always loaded, then you'll only handle them one way. But if you believe a gun is unloaded, then you'll be like, no, it's okay, it's unloaded. People like pass their plane and they're like, oh, don't worry about it, it's unloaded. Which is the thing that is almost always said before someone does something stupid and shoots themselves or someone else. Don't worry, it's unloaded. And if they didn't say that beforehand, what do they say after? I thought it was unloaded, right? That's what's always said. And most people who've been around guns for a long time have been around a negligent or accidental discharge at some point, right? And if you think back to that situation, what was said before it happened? Don't worry, it's unloaded. And then what's said after it? Oh man, I didn't think it was loaded. Well, if all guns are always loaded, is that ever an option? No, it's never an option. If it's treat all guns as loaded, I mean, if you really follow it, I guess it's never an option, but you kind of take the edge off of it. That allows creep. Like, you can creep into this place where it's like you have dangerous loaded guns and safe unloaded guns. If you walk downstairs into the range or into the pro shop down here, what are they doing? Are all the guns loaded or unloaded? Yeah, they're actually unloaded, but what should be our mindset? What should be our belief? They're all loaded. But what do most people down there believe? They're unloaded. So what do people do with the unloaded guns they pull out of the counter? Right? They do crazy, and they point it at themselves and other people all the time. And it's no big deal. It's just it's what's accepted in a gun shop. I think it's kind of crazy. You're teaching yourself, you're handling a gun, and you're saying, it's okay to do this crazy thing with this real live gun. I had a colleague as a police officer who was an experienced firearms person and I always tell a story whenever I teach this, but because I think it's a good story. So he's a firearms instructor, been around guns all his life, knew all about guns, was super competent. At one point, he was home, and he had a 1911, and he shot himself in the hand with a 1911. I don't know that he had to have surgery. He might have had a little surgery to like reconstruct some stuff. He ended up, he never had, I don't think, full dexterity and control again, but he was able to come back and do his job. Did he believe all guns were always loaded? No, because if you had handed him a gun and said, hey, this is loaded, what I want you to do now is I want you to point it at your hand and pull the trigger. Would he have done that? No, obviously not. For whatever reason, he thought it was okay to take an unloaded gun and to point it at himself and pull the trigger. So for him, there was two sets of gun handling rules. One for dangerous loaded guns and one for safe unloaded guns. And obviously that failed, right? And so if you don't have those two distinctions, you'll never have a problem with that.